We're just after 7, so we're going to get going. It looks like I see Eric, Tom, Kristen. No video from John Puz, but he's on. Tim Russell, myself.
Can you see me?
Yep, I got you, Penny. Yeah, you just popped on my screen. I see Kirby's on, but I don't see her yet. If I could change the view of this somehow.
This is John. I'm just adjusting my security settings. I'll have camera in a second here.
Are you able to see me now?
Yep.
Yep, I got you, Kirby. Thank you. I wish there was a way for me to see everyone. Does anybody know how to change this?
There's not a way to set like a minimum number of people on the screen.
Yeah, you can go to you see the 3 little dots at the bottom of your screen next to the hand raise signal?
Got it, yeah.
If you click those 3 little dots, you'll go to adjust view.
Yeah.
Click on tiled legacy.
Got it.
And then swing that bottom bar at the bottom left, swing it all the way over to the right to allow the maximum amount of tiles.
All right, so I think that might have worked. Didn't change what I see, but all right, so now I'm seeing Eric, Jeff, Kristen, Kirby, still no John for video, Penny, Tom, Tim Russell, and Frank. So I think I got everybody, right? All right, so seeing we have quorum, I will call the New Hartford Public Schools Board of Education regular meeting dated March 3rd, 2026 at 7 p.m. to order at 7:03 p.m. If you are able, please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which stands one nation,
under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. I'd like to start by saying thank you to everyone for joining the meeting. With today's weather, we had to make some last-minute adjustments with school cancellation today, as well as the icy conditions that exist today. So just so everybody's aware, we did make the adjustment with the board. We sent out notifications through the school systems. We sent them out through the town. We put postings at Antolini on the doors. Jeff, was there anything else that we did today?
No, that is everything. We covered all of our bases.
All right, so we tried to cover all the bases to let everybody know that the meeting was going to be virtual only today based on the weather. So I do appreciate everybody jumping on, and for our safety, we're doing it this way. Next item on the agenda is the order of business. I have no changes to the order of business, but I do open it up here if anyone has anything they'd like to add to the agenda. All right, seeing none, we'll move on to item number C, communication to the Board of Education. We have received a few communications. Jeff, do you want to go through those?
Sure, I could start with receiving an email from Samantha Wald. She had a question regarding poverty levels, and I shared in my response that there is a public website, the U.S. Census Bureau website, and our Title I allocation is determined by poverty ratio within our community. So I steered Samantha there. She also had a follow-up question regarding who can apply for grants and who does it based on behalf of our school district and our board. And I replied that central office applies for all of our state and federal grants, with the following criteria set by law or policy and student confidentiality. I also shared that the PTO or New Hartford Foundation may apply for other grants to support our district with the involvement of the admin team, Mike, Kelly, Amy, or myself, if those do so apply. There was also a question regarding our snow tractor and what issues does it have, and has there been consideration for reaching out to the community or parents. So due to liability, we need to have a licensed personnel, obviously working on it, that can guarantee their work and are covered by business insurance. If such exists, they can get in touch with Ross Fenner, our awesome custodian at New Hartford Elementary School. Some of the issues that are persistent are startup and functionality within the engine's combustion and things of that nature. So we received additional communication regarding our, let's see here, 3rd grade section we just received this morning. And that was from Eric and Tara White. So we responded there. Those are the two that I have in front of me because obviously some other ones might be in the office. And as they came in a little bit later, we tried to post all of them here. Let me just think if there's any other ones. Tim, do you have other ones?
No, I believe you captioned it. We had that one from Samantha Wall. That was the night of our previous meeting. What was it, last week?
Yeah.
We had a second one that same night from Samantha Wald regarding the healthy food and menu for the 6th grade dance that takes place at the schools. We also had a third communication from Samantha Wald thanking the board for clarifying some items, as well as going through, our public comment policies, as well as going through our pre-K program and how that program works and why it's economically advantageous to the district to have that pre-K program. And then the fourth was from Eric and Tara White that I did copy everyone on the board with the reply. The request in there was that the current 2nd grade class is moving up to 3rd grade, and we are reducing that from 4 to 3 sections in our current proposed budget. And they wanted to request that we maintain 4. So we did reply to that, and everybody on the board should receive that, telling them that, again, we are within our policy for school classroom size. And Jeff, if I recall, that was with 3 classes, it was 20.7. Was that the case?
20.3, and our policy is up to 25 for 3rd grade.
All right, so that was all the communication to the board that I am aware of. Next item on the agenda is public comment. So if anybody is in the online who would like to comment, please raise your hand and we will promote you to be able to speak at this point. Trying to see if I've got any hands raised. All right, I'm looking at the moderated contributors and I do not see any hands raised. So I'll give it a couple more seconds to see if anyone would like to address the board. Okay, I'm not seeing any hands raised, so we will move on to the next item on the agenda, which is the superintendent's report. Superintendent Suso.
Thank you so much. And thank you, Chairman Klebs, for allowing time so that people, again, can ask or provide public comment by, again, clicking on the little raised, the hand that's at the bottom of the screen there. And then Mr. Paul Carmen would elevate you to be able to be a contributor so that you can participate. So thank you for that. First and foremost, it is the month of March. Believe it or not, I am tired of the winter weather. I believe everybody else is as well. So looking forward to some warmer weather. With that, it is also Board of Education Member Appreciation Month. And if we were in person today, I would be handing out these delicious little treats to you. So next time we meet, I will make sure I pass them out. But on behalf of my leadership team, of all the teachers and all the staff in New Hartford Public Schools, we are thankful to each and every one of you for spending hours and hours of your time and of your life with me, with one another, as we continue to work towards enhancing and making New Hartford Public Schools even better under the philosophy of continuous improvement. So thank you for your work on outreach, on subcommittee for policy, on subcommittee for task force. There is so much work that each and every one of you do that I am very grateful for. I know the parents and our staff members are also very appreciative. So thank you, thank you, thank you for the bottom of our hearts. Also a heartfelt thanks from CABE and from CAPS, which is 2 of our boards. And again, thank you for all of your work. My quote for tonight is, do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit. Rather, in humility, value others above yourselves, not looking to your own interests, but each of you to the interests of others. And I know that a lot of you have that heart as you've, again, dedicated your time to the benefit of our educational system here in New Hartford Public Schools. So I'm very grateful to all of you. Before I jump into the remainder of the report, I just want to wish everyone a happy St. Patrick's Day. And also don't forget daylight saving time. So don't forget to set your clocks ahead by 1 hour on March the 8th, coming up in a few days. And I know that's a transition for all of us as we lose, quote unquote, an hour of sleep. All right, jumping straight into the remainder of my superintendent's report. I want to start off with going over some clarification regarding our pre-K sections from the 2025 to 2026 school year. Enrollment birth rates had been discussed during the budget season with 66 births recorded at Town Hall, as you're familiar. So the Board of Education discussed this in May, and that was stated as a cost-neutral addition. So I have a video clip ready because that was not reflected in the minutes, but I would like to make sure that it's clarified here. So I have a video clip ready. I'll share with the public. Just stand by one moment so I could share my screen and share the audio clip. Is pre-K. So with some of our information that we've shared with the board, that next year we will be absolutely hiring another kindergarten teacher because we'll have a tremendous amount of births. There are currently 66 recorded births at the town clerk's office. So in a strategic move by the board, what we're going to do is we are opening another pre-K section because we have so many students that are on a wait list, and that is a strategic move so we don't permit those students to then go on to a magnet school and then be left with tuition bills or other things in the kindergarten and on years. If you've been on the board for a minute, you know how passionate I am about New Hartford Public Schools, that we offer the absolute best education. Magnet schools, all respect to you, you just don't compete with us. So with this move, it is going to be cost neutral because it is a tuition-based program. It also allows us the ability to have an individual for more than 1 year instead of it being a one-year position, so it's more attractive to hire. And we will obviously make a strategic hire as well, looking for an individual who is newer to the profession for cost efficiencies. But I wanted to report that also to the Board of Education. All right, thank you for your attention to that clip where we discussed that last year. Around May of 2025. So again, to take everyone back through a chronological order, and Chairman Kleps, if I miss anything, please, of course, interject. So we discussed that in May as a cost neutral option. The referendum failed with the proposed cuts to the clerical aid and instructional assistant. The Board of Finance restored those cuts on May the 13th. The Board of Education, then we met again later in May on May the 19th, and the Board of Education adopted that revised budget. And then the referendum passed on June 10th. So that information was discussed at a Board of Education meeting. I discussed the advantages to having a third pre-K section, and we are in the midst of that now in preparation for the 26-27 school year, where again, those 66 births are anticipated to have an impact on our school system for next year with the addition of the section for pre-K. So I just want to make it clear that the $66,000 that was proposed as a cut was then restored, and that was specifically tied to two positions, the clerical aide at Anna Antolini and an instructional assistant at Bakerville and New Hartford Elementary School. Tim, anything else to add to the pre-K component of review?
No, I think you covered it. I think that there was questions on or some allegations that that third section was added after referendum. When the case was added prior to the referendum with the adoption of the budget by the Board of Ed, sent to the Board of Finance, moved on from the Board of Finance to the town referendum for the second vote. And yes, as Jeff said, the failure at the first referendum was due to the instructional assistant and the clerical aide, and those two were added back in. So we wanted to make sure that was clear that there was nothing being done by the Board of Ed after the fact where we had some found money where we added a position, and it was done above board with the process of the budget last year.
Very good. My other part of my superintendent's report is relative to the budget. I could either go through that now, Tim, at your will or your desire, or I could wait till old business because I want to go through the budget and discuss the reductions as was requested by the Board of Education. I want to encapsulate all of the reductions that we put forth, or that the board put forth last week actually, and then get that clarified. So I could do that now, or I could wait till old business.
Yeah, let's hold that. Let's hold that and take it up at one time under old business with the budget workshop number 2.
Very good. Then with that, I conclude superintendent's report. Thank you.
Okay. Does anybody on the board have any questions regarding the superintendent's report? Frank, I see your hand raised. It's down the bottom of your screen. You should see a little microphone. If you click that, we'll come up. Oh, there you are.
Got it to work. Well, my question was with the pre-K, was the additional staff cost neutral?
Yes, Frank, it was cost neutral.
That's my question.
Okay. Yes, sir.
And when, just again, for the purposes of that, Jeff, can you just describe when you say it's cost neutral? Again,
Yep.
I think we all know what that means, but just
I'll
for
share.
clarification, what does that mean?
Yep. So the teacher that was hired was not at the top of the salary scale, was actually a eighth year teacher, which is approximately $68,000. And the tuition from the third section covered the cost of that teacher's salary. So in that respect, it is cost neutral for the hiring of that teacher.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Are there any additional questions for the superintendent? Okay, seeing none, we will move on to the Board of Education Chair Report. The item listed under here is BOE communications to the community. We did speak last week as I opened it up, with the change of this meeting going from in-person to virtual. I did speak about the level of communication that we put forth to be able to communicate that this meeting was shifting due to weather. Outside of that, I don't have any additional update on communication. I would open it up to the board should you have any questions or any comments regarding communication to the community. Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to the next item on the agenda, which is routine business. And I did notice we have the expenditure report listed here, but I don't think we're taking that up tonight. I think that is for next month. We just took the expenditure report last month. So there's no business under routine business at this time. Moving to new business, we have 4 policies to review, and these are all first reads of the policies. Penny, will you be taking us through those? All right. Floor is yours.
Thanks, Tim. I hope that everyone has read the policies that were included in your packet. The first one is policy 3516.5, sexual offenders on school property. This is revision to current policy to post registry link on district website in accordance with the state. I believe that's the word state because it ran off the page and it didn't, it just starts out with STA. So I know when we had our meeting, our policy meeting, Jeff had mentioned, and he had showed us a link that goes to the sex registry for Connecticut. So that anyone that had any questions can, if they have any questions about anybody in our school system or someone that they know, they can go to this website. Jeff is not sending out notices to parents in our school system that, oh, by the way, so-and-so is on that registry. Right, Jeff?
Yes, ma'am. You got it.
I can see your head going up and down. So other than that, did anybody have any questions or comments about it?
So the only question I had, Penny, if I could, is some of these policies are recommended, some are mandatory policies. This one doesn't have a header on it by either. So is this a recommended or a mandatory policy? And is this coming through CABE or is it coming from the state?
Jeff, I don't know.
I got you. Yep.
Okay.
So I'll just encapsulate. The first policy was a standing policy already. It is simply a revision. based on what our practices are. So we've adopted this a while ago. In fact, it was adopted September 16, 2008. This is a revision to this policy to take into effect what we currently do. And the policy subcommittee has been doing that all along. The second one is also a revision. The third one is a new policy, not mandated, but I am recommending directly to the board. And the fourth one is a revision that is, again, a recommendation to the Board of Education to adhere to the current way that we fill board positions. Just to do a quick recap of all four.
Thank
It
you.
would say right on the top, mandatory versus anything else like that's been posted before. Revision, a brand new one, and then revision.
Okay, so then my only question with this is then, really with the content of the policy is on page 3. We struck through parents, guardians who are registered sex offenders shall receive a copy of this policy via registered mail.
Correct.
Why did we make that change?
That is not good practice, nor any practice that I've ever abided by, nor that any other superintendent do. The method in which is recommended by law is to have this as on the district's public website so that people can search for anybody that is a registered sex offender. And internally, policy-wise, we provide that information to our school staff so that they are aware. But the recommendation is not that your superintendent sends notification directly to parents. It's not very good practice, and most people would probably find it very offensive. So the method of complying with the law that is recommended is to do just what we listed there on page 3. It's a very excellent question, and I'm glad that I could speak about it.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Got it.
I did try out that link that you showed us at our policy meeting, that goes to the state. It was interesting. So is that going to be, I don't see it in this copy. Will it be in the new copy?
It will be on our
Oh, it
website
is here.
after second read, and it is on the copy that you have before you.
I guess because I missed it because it wasn't inside the box like I had seen before.
You got it. No problem.
Okay. So the next one is policy 3541.313, video cameras on school transportation. This is a revision to the current policy to align with current procedures and practices done today. So this is
Correct.
just inside the bus. It's nothing outside the bus, like it won't capture somebody going by the bus when the lights are all flashing and the stop sign is out. But it'll capture children inside the bus. If a parent should say, well, it wasn't my child that did it, well, we'll show it on the tape. And the tapes go up to, or the video goes up to the cloud. So it's not something that we're keeping and then writing over again at some other later date. Did anybody have any questions?
I do.
Okay, Tom.
So to your last point, Penny, where it goes up to the cloud, but in procedures B, it says it's going to be retained for 20 days. Is there a reason it's only 20 days? I can understand the video recordings because they take up so much space, but with the now it's all digital. Is there a reason we're dumping them after 20 days?
I don't believe we're dumping them though.
Yeah, there was no specific reason, Tom, outside of when we connected with DATCO. That was their parameters of being able to retain those recordings for 20 days. And obviously within 20 days, we usually hear about a situation. We usually hear about it right at 3:30, 4 o'clock when kiddos are getting home if there's an issue. The same with bus drivers too. So the bus company was very interested in this policy update as well, because also there's interactions between parents and bus drivers at times. And this would be a good way to have those records and then be able to provide answers to any investigation.
Yeah, I just think 20 days seems short, given the fact that everything's stored forever and ever and ever on every other means of, Facebook and so on and such like. I just didn't know if 20 seemed a little short, given the fact that everything is kind of digital in the cloud now. And if there's room to move that up or down, if there's a reason to, just put it.
Yeah, I requested an answer to that, and they had stated again, it's based on their network storage for New Hartford Public Schools and Region 7. And that's the standard practice that they use is the 20-day window.
Okay, thank you.
You got it.
I thought after our meeting that they were keeping these up in the cloud.
They are, but they only are committing to keeping them available to pull back down
Okay.
for 20 days. So I would assume it's just a cost limitation. They have private storage. It's a lot. Video takes up a lot of data storage, particularly for if you think about it, it's all of the buses across all of their programs for the length of time that kids are on the buses. So I can imagine that, just knowing how much my own cloud storage is for my own personal use, that they have to have some kind of limit for how long they'll keep it and pay for the storage.
Okay.
I'm sure we can I'm sure we can lengthen it. We can probably go back and talk to them if people feel strongly about it, but logically, that's why I would say the limitation is coming from and why it's not forever.
Okay, thank you.
Let me just add on to that if I could. If I read C below it, the school administrator determines that a recording should be kept as evidence, should be retained pursuant to the M8 schedule, M-8. I don't know what the M-8 schedule is, but does that hold true for the recordings? If there's a reason to hold it for evidence on a bus, does that fall under the same category?
It would if there's necessity. Yes, the M8 schedule simply is the education records. It's the general retention schedule. So it speaks to, for example, a report card must be maintained by the district for 50 years. And we abide by that before destroying any of the documents that we have. And we also have to notify the public, and we do that as well through the newspaper before we destroy any of our documents. That's, in a sense, real quickly, what the summary of an M8 schedule is. It lists everything from medical exemptions to student report cards to excused absence. There's a lot of things on that retention schedule. It's many pages, but we have to abide by that by state law.
Thank you.
Yep.
Is that retention schedule similar to the one that the state has for what we need to keep and for how many months or years?
It's probably parallel to that, Penny, but this one's very
Okay.
specific to educational records. It
Okay.
might have parallels. I'm not really sure about the state one. This is the one that I know that we have to follow.
Okay. It is listed on the back side of this piece of paper.
Yep.
So. Okay, our third one is a new policy.
Penny.
What?
Penny.
I'm sorry.
I apologize, but before we go on, can I just rewind back to the sex offenders on school property really quickly?
Sure.
The parent guardian sex offenders, Jeff, to attend an open house event, are they chaperoned during this time?
Can you give me the page that you're on? I don't know where you are, Tim. I
Page,
apologize.
page 2, top of the page, D.
Letter D.
Okay, so are they chaperoned during the time when they're an open house event? Oh, that's a very public and open forum. So they're going to always be in the presence of another staff member, teacher, or the admin that's there in the building. So that's why. Thanks for
I
the.
know. Yeah, sorry. I just know many times, after an open house, a lot of times the kids go out to the playground. They're just kind of running around doing their own thing. No one's really watching the kids besides the parents at that time. My issue with this is just, we go to these schools and we try to trust, who our kids meet as friends and try to get to know their parents. And if we're subjecting them to a parent who is a sex offender, and maybe we didn't look that up online prior, and then our kids are going over for a play date or a birthday party, and we met these kids this person at the open house, and we feel like they're a halfway decent person. I don't know. I feel uncomfortable with them attending the open house event personally.
Yeah, I understand the concern, but you said it perfectly. It's public information. And if someone had any reason to, it has to be publicized. It's by the Public Act. And that's been in place for a number of years. And the way that information is available is on the website. So if people have those curiosities, they can certainly look. And you're right. They may be people that are not sex offenders. They might be people that are. And then it is totally up to the parents to decide, right, what to do and how, quote unquote, vigilant or how tightly supervised they are. Again, it's public information. I can't withhold it. We can't do that. We'd be in violation of the law. I understand your concern completely. But I
Well,
know
and I think as I read this, right, number 3, right, that falls under number 3, which requires the principal's prior approval, right?
Yes.
Yes. Anytime the parent, a parent who is on the sex offender registry, anytime they're in the school, it needs to be with prior approval from the principal. That was the way we intended to write the policy.
Yep, they're going to be notified of it. Like I said, there's always going to be staff member adult there, and the admin's going to know and also have shared that as well.
Is that common practice in the state to allow them to attend an open house, or is this?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, because it's such a public forum. There's so many people there. Absolutely.
I would also think that the terms of, if someone is convicted of being a sex offender, they also have requirements by the state for release that trump any one of our policies. Right. So if they're not to be anywhere with children under the age of 18, they are not allowed at an open house or anywhere on a school property anyhow.
Okay. Thank you.
You got it. Thanks for bringing that up.
Okay. So this is a new policy 6144.1, instruction exemption from instruction. Schools inform parents in advance and meet with families. Well, let me read it from my iPad because it shows all the words. Whoops. Ugh. I hate when things don't work.
That's okay, Penny. While you're doing that, I'll just share a little bit of the background too. When going through all of our policies, the administrative team and I noticed that we did not have an exemption from instruction, which is 100% a parent right to exempt their children from instruction based on religious or medical. So I wanted to propose this policy and recommend it to the subcommittee. The subcommittee met, they talked about it. We kicked it back to the admin team just to give everyone a background. And it came back that the policy has a couple other quick adjustments. You'll notice that we put the note up above. It was in the wrong place, we felt. And our practice has been and always will be that our school admin teams will meet with the parents in advance and to respectfully plan for their children. So, for example, if I am a practicing Jehovah's Witness and my child cannot participate in an activity, I reach out to the school staff and I meet with them to discuss an alternative instructional activity. That is common practice. That is what we do. So we in advance inform our parents of any HIV/AIDS instruction or family life instruction as well. So those pieces are all, again, in place. We just did not have a policy, and I felt strongly that parents' rights should be within our Board of Education policy. It was not prior to that, so we wanted to make sure that it was. Subcommittee agreed, so here it is for first read.
Okay, so here's my notes on it. Schools inform parents in advance and will meet with families as needed to respectfully plan for their children, their child or children, which is basically what Jeff just said. Any questions or comments? Okay, the last one is policy 9221, filling board member vacancies. Revision to current policy, 1 in parentheses, updating independent to unaffiliated as independent is a registered party. 2, as reference to Connecticut General Statutes 9-59, all candidates must be affiliated with a party for more than 3 months to be eligible, or the candidate must be unaffiliated for 3 months. Number 3, adds to Connecticut General Statutes 9-204 that no political party can have more than 2/3. Any questions? Comments? Nobody's raising their hand. Okay. Oh, John does. Okay, John.
Thanks, Penny. Just couple small items, but details matter with here, as we all know. Number 2, I look to you all here, but is it at a regular meeting? Or sorry, number 3 actually, at a regular meeting, not regular board meeting or special meeting? we use a special meeting this time, and so I want to make sure that that we, if it can't happen at special meetings, that we note that explicitly.
I think in the instance here, like we have a statement in the policy that says we'll try to fill the seat within 30 days. And so in the instance where we get the notification and then there is a regular board meeting, and if the next regular board meeting at which we take action is outside that 30-day window, is that okay? Or should we schedule a special meeting to make sure we do it within the 30-day window?
Is that your question?
That Kristen, that's the question. Yeah, and Kristen added on nicely, and so also this past process we did use a special meeting, and so just want to make sure for updating the policy that we reflect, if we're going to use special meetings, that we explicitly state that in the policy.
I have no objection to it, but those are just my 2 cents.
I think it makes sense to add that clause.
Right.
So I have a question for Tim Klops.
Yes.
Wasn't there a state statute or something regarding if it falls outside the 30 days that the first selectman has the ability to appoint?
Correct.
So that's an important element here that we should consider with this language, that we will have a meeting within 30 days, or we're going to lose our ability to.
Yep.
So I think the amendment that John is recommending makes sense, to number 3 in that policy, that we amend that to say at a regular meeting or a special meeting to be held within 30 days of notice of resignation, just to, again, be very clear with what the intention is there.
Maybe what we can do in that number 1, it says the board shall make every effort to fill a vacancy within 30 days. Instead of shall make it should be the board will hold a meeting or call a special meeting to fill the vacancy within 30 days. Or will make every effort. They're not going to make every effort. We are going to have a meeting within 30 days.
Yeah, that's where it's posting the opening, or accept the resignation, posting the opening application process. The whole
Right.
steps. So.
Well, and I think Tom and Penny, your point is well taken. I think that Jeff, I don't know how if we can roll it in here and reference the statute that allows the selectmen to appoint, right? So future members of the board understand that should you not appoint or have someone within 30 days, the selectmen then have the ability to fill that position.
Yeah, it's listed as the first and foremost legal reference. If you look below, Connecticut General State Statute 7-101 or 107, vacancy appointments by selectmen.
Yeah,
all of those references are there. If we want to make it super clear, then we certainly can do that.
Yeah, I would say again, I guess what I'm hearing is maybe under item 1, that if we don't fill that 30, it's just an add-on to that item number 1, that if we don't fill it within 30 days, or even if you're going to put it under 3, if you don't fill it within 30 days, then the selectmen have the ability to appoint.
Mm-hmm.
We learned a lot, right? So
Yes.
The point that we should just make it clearer for those who follow us.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
And I have 2 other clarifications. Again, we learned a lot. If it's better for the sake of time to email those, I'm happy to. But I look to you in terms of what's the best use of time.
No, you could bring them up now, please.
Okay. So down below where we have 9-59, the direction here at the 3 months is generally correct. From having looked at the statutes, there actually are some details. I believe that when I check the statute, that a person is a member of party. If they file a new application, they're a member of their previous party for 3 months thereafter. And so, just noting kind of what the kind of how the 3-month clock actually works, or kind of 3-month timeline works, and so that way it's more clear as it's written. Someone could be with a party for 3 months, and they're eligible. It's actually some details around that that determine kind of how that 3 months works relative to filling the vacancy. And then in 9-204, because we have a 9-person board, it's 2/3. But if we ever were to change the number of board members, that 2/3 would not be the number. So I'm not sure if we want to keep it like that or adjust it, because again, based on the number of board members, that ratio changes.
I think, yeah, it's a good point too. I think you just have to clarify that the 2/3 is based on a 9-person board.
Yeah.
And if you want to be more specific with the 3 months, we could always say 90 days.
But I think the question I would say would probably be like, what is the 90 days from, right? So like, is it like, I would assume, or like I would propose that we specify that it's 90 days from when the announcement is made that the vacancy is.
That's where there's some details around that. I'm gonna check the statute, because the statute actually governs this. One part I think is 90 days from the vacancy, but then one part I saw was around when someone files paperwork to change a party, they're a member of their previous party for 90 days thereafter. And so that comes into play too. And so that's where in this conversation, I don't feel comfortable just with the language is, but as a first read, I think we need to make sure that we fine tune the language to accurately represent what the statute says, so that our policy complies with the statute, and therefore we're not in a situation where the policy and the statute are at conflict.
Well, the policy committee can read through this 9-59 policy, or I'm sorry, statute. And then before our next meeting, at our next meeting, we can discuss it further so that we all know what is included in 9-59. Obviously, you've read it. I have not. So, I mean, I don't want to make any determinations or make any suggestions as how to change it.
I'm not an expert on statute. I was just, reading it from when this came up with our last vacancy. So,
okay.
So glad to put my head together with you all on this. Obviously, you know more than I do, but happy to help. So,
well, next time that Jeff, Kristen, Frank, and myself meet, we can discuss it.
Sounds good.
Come up with some good verbiage that would make everybody happy.
Yeah, I'll work on this tomorrow, and I will fine tune it and send it to the committee to take a review again, so we're not further delayed, because we have other policies to continue with. But I will make sure I've taken some notes, and I know my executive assistant Sarah Vogel is also online, so that we can make sure we capture all of that. We'll send it for review and for further scrutiny before we move it on. Yes, Kristen, I see I got you.
I'm just thinking about process. Is that something we can do async, or do we need to do that at a meeting?
Yeah, we could do async because this is public now, what we'd like the revisions to be. Yep, we're okay with that.
Yep.
Oh, didn't you hear tomorrow there's no school again because it's going to be icy?
Penny.
No, the superintendent did not make that decision. Nope. Erase that. Erase that.
Write that from the record.
Right, it is right. Yeah, Sarah's laughing too. No way. Get that off the record quick.
All right, that's all I have to bring to you tonight.
Okay, thank you, Penny. These will come back as second reads at our next regularly scheduled meeting. Next item on the agenda is old business. Both items are budget workshop number 2, discussion and possible motion to adopt the superintendent's proposed budget as the new Hartford Board of Education budget. So Superintendent Sousa, can you walk us through the revisions that were made based on our discussions at our previous meeting for the board's knowledge and for everybody to flip to and take a look at?
Absolutely. Just give my screen a moment to share with everybody and I could see it. All right. There we go. Just minimize this here to get this out of my way. All right. Okay. At the last Board of Education budget, the Board of Education motioned to have the overall budget be at least a 3.5% for increase. Just to bring everyone up to date, the current budget as stands now after the reductions have been made is at 3.43% or $354,651 for a total of $10.6,079,327 as a total budget for the 26-27 school year. So the following reductions have been made, and I'll ask the board to follow along. I will be presenting at the same time so people can follow along. The first page I'd like the board members to turn to in their budget packet, if they have the paper packet in front of them, is page 19. If you're following along online, page 19 is where we're heading to under special education. and we're dropping down to the tuition line, which is number item or object 1,200 under 560 tuitions. This line has been reduced by $50,000. Again, this is one of the contingencies held within the budget for an unexpected change next year in receiving somebody either right now or during the summer or next school year that would need significant special education and outplacement. So that was reduced there. The next element.
Jeff, just on that. So just to be clear, that was reduced on the outplacements line?
That was reduced on the outplacements line, yes, under tuitions for outplacements by $50,000, yes.
Thank you.
You got it. As we continue to walk through, let's head over to...
Can I ask you a quick question?
Yes, ma'am.
I mean, are we safe in taking away 50,000 in that line?
Yes, that is my recommendation to the board.
But what happens if we have a child that comes into district?
Non-lapsing fund.
Okay.
That would be my follow-up recommendation to the board.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely. Okay, we will go to the next line. If you would please turn to page number. Oh, sorry, you okay? I just heard someone cough. Okay. Page number 26, under improvement of instruction. We're looking at line 320, and I'm trying to navigate both things at the same time. Where it says, sorry, let me go line by line here. Improvement of instruction, line 320, purchase services, teacher and student recognition. The recommendation was to reduce by $250, changing that budget line from $1,000 to $750. The next is under central office. So I'll walk you over to the next page in the booklet. If you head over to page 36 and 37, that's where we'll stop next. Let me make sure I display that on the presentation. There we go. So the next one is under series 2600 central office supplies, and that is line 616, located right here. Recommendation was to reduce that budget line by 1,000, changing the budget line from $3,000 to $2,000. The next is in the same series under educational periodicals, line 642 under central office. Recommendation there was to change or reduce the budget from $400 to $200. So that has been done there as well. Up next is the 2700 series. So if everyone goes over to school offices on page 39, and we scroll down to line 616, office supplies. The recommendation there is to reduce by $1,800, changing the budget line from $5,800 to $4,000. Those were the recommended changes for operating. I'll give it a pause there if there are any questions for clarity purposes before moving to the capital expenditures and 5-year capital expenditure changes. Those all reflect back to the overall budget total of 343, as I had mentioned at the beginning of the meeting, taking us below the 3.5 as motioned by the Board of Education.
Jeff, there was one change that was not calculating properly.
Can you give me that one, please?
What's that?
Can you give that to me, please?
No, there was one. We had it in the notes from the last meeting. I forget what it was. It wasn't calculating. That, I believe, needed to be corrected. Let me see if I can find it.
Okay.
You can keep going while I'm looking for it.
Okay, thank you, Tim. And we may have corrected it. I may have just skipped it. An apology based on the formula. Maybe it wasn't calculating correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got you. I vaguely remember that too. So let me wrap up with capital, and then if we've captured that somewhere else, we'll come back to it.
Got it.
All right. So if everyone can flip to page number 50 of our budget book, under capital expenditures, the motion there was to remove the classroom refresh from capital and reduce the capital budget by 20,700. You could see that that has been removed here from the capital, which takes us down to a reduced number of $145,575 for capital expenditures. On the very next page, page 51, for our 5-year capital plan, you'll notice here a couple of changes. Number one, first and foremost, is that the new Hartford elementary roof replacement is listed here with an asterisk, obviously with the outcomes of the task force to put together a plan of bonding, remediation, whatever needs to be done for that roof. So that will be based on the outcomes of the task force, as we discussed during our last Board of Education meeting. So that is reflective here in our 5-year capital plan. So much appreciated to the Board of Education members for that note. And also the new Hartford elementary snow tractor has been added on here under the 28 fiscal year 2028 at a cost of $20,000. That was not calculating correctly. Thank you, Penny, for bringing that to my attention. So that is now accurate for the fiscal year 28. That would be $205,000 for a capital plan for that year. Those are overall all of the changes that were noted from our last meeting, unless I forgot that other one, Tim, for the calculation. If there's something else, let me know and we'll adjust that right now.
Yeah, if you can flip to page 22, please.
Yep, I'm on it.
Under adult education, 1300 series.
Adult education. Page 22. Yep.
105.
Oh, yes. Yeah, this wasn't a miscalculation. It was a typo. So if you look back at 25-26, and we need to leave it reflected as such, because that's how the budget was passed via referendum, there was an error, a clerical error with the amount that adult education would cost. So that should read $7,086, not the $7,806. I think I made mention of that in the Q&A. So that was the clerical error there. But we can't change that, because then it would obviously have implications in what the numbers were by a difference of 806 minus the $86. And it would throw off the numbers from the previous year, which then would be an immediate flag. It was just a clerical error on entry point. Yeah, I remember that, Tim. Thank you again.
Oh, thank you. Okay, Jeff, is that
Yes, sir.
the presentation?
Yes, sir. That wraps everything up, and I'll take us back to the first page again. If there is a desire for the Board of Education to...
Why don't we flip to
Go.
Superintendent Sousa? Can you flip the other piece that we talked about was some updates to the enrollment projections?
Yes.
Those have been changed. Can you just review those, please?
Yep. All right. So here we have, for further clarity to all, thanks to all of our board members, John Puz especially reaching out, and we've changed the method of looking at enrollment and class sizes for further clarity. So this was a step in that direction. And again, remember that these are projections. For everyone that's listening, projections is an imperfect science at best. I don't even have I'm not pretending that I have a crystal ball, but these are based on patterns that we've seen over the years with, enrollments ranging from about 10 to 12 new students every summer that could never have been projected or predicted, forgive me. And it's also based on birth rates that are provided by the town clerk's office in the town hall. So you'll see here the projected 25-26 versus the actuals. So last year we projected 433 students, and in actuality we have 445 students, to reflect, again, just the discrepancy in what you project versus what is, and that was as of January 1st, 2026. If I scroll a little bit further down to help for the future projection of 2026, 2027, again, we took our current year's numbers now, where students are currently, right now, where they're living, based on, again, information from January 1st, 2026. And I think there's already been another student that has joined, but when this was encapsulated then, this is the current information, our enrollment, pre-K 44, kindergarten 40, grade 1 50, and so on. You'll see a parallel between the numbers outside of preschool, because preschool 44 to 66 is, again, that 66 comes from the town hall of what the recorded births are. And we've been anticipating that for at least a year and a half based on that information that's been shared from the town hall. And I've made that, made the Board of Education aware of that, and also the public. If you look at kindergarten, you'll see 40 to the 40 moving up to first grade. You'll see the grade 1 students at 50 moving up to grade 2, and so on and so forth as we project as best we can next year's numbers. So we are currently at 445, or 446, but at January 1st, 445, and we are projecting 441 based, again, on the information that we had from town hall regarding those birth rates, or births, I should say, and also on the current enrollment, moving everybody forward for next year. So this was an attempt to make things a little bit more clear in the budget book, and that will be reflected and posted as soon as our meeting is up for tonight, or finished tonight.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
At this time, we'll open it up for any, I actually, first I need a motion to adopt, or a motion to change, and then a second for discussion.
Motion to adopt.
I'll second it.
We have a motion by John Puz to adopt the budget as presented by the superintendent, proposed budget. We have a second by Penny for discussion. Open the floor for discussion.
Does the board need to give the specific number amounts yet, Penny? I remember us doing this last year and the year before, to adopt the budget of blank percent
3.4.
and for the amount of 10.6 million. Does it have to be very specific? I thought it had to be, just to take back. Okay, thank you for clarity.
So it needs to have John's motion needs to say for the 26-27 New Hartford Public Schools anticipated budget of, what is it, $10,679,327 for a 3.43% increase.
Okay.
Right,
So
John?
that's right. Should I say it?
Do you agree? No, you
I
just
agree.
said it.
I just said it. Okay. I made the motion.
And I seconded it.
Yeah, just go ahead and add to that, add an increase from prior year, 354, 651.
And we'll add that to the motion, an increase of $354,651 from the prior year.
Thank you. So that's a motion to adopt the budget as it's presented in front of you. Is there any discussion?
I have a question, Jeff, if you don't mind flipping back over to the enrollment piece.
Will do. Give me one quick second.
And I understand that I'm going to ask you a question, and that I'm not expecting you to make any commitment. I'm just trying to game something out here. So there was a letter that we received from parents asking about the removal of a 4th section for 3rd grade. I assume that was because it looks like we probably need 4 teachers for kindergarten next year, when this year there's only 3. If it is, under what circumstances, or if the enrollment comes in way under than expected for kindergarten for various reasons, is it likely that you would wind up putting that 4th teacher back on 3rd grade?
I may do that. That would be the flexibility that's within here, obviously with enrollment changing every summer. So your question is very well received. Yes, that would be kind of the backup plan, if you will.
Yeah, because I can understand how not 20 plus kids in kindergarten seems no thanks. Like I don't want that. And so I understand that. My assumption here is that you're making that trade-off to keep our staffing flat so we don't have to add a new position.
Yes, and I really appreciate the question because again, that would follow again the class size policy. Kindergarten should be 18. We'd be over that. You're absolutely right.
Okay.
So with this move, yes, that would, as a backup plan, that would then pivot that back so that we would have a nice small class size again in grade 2.
Yeah.
But the commitment is obviously to the lower grades in this particular case, in this particular year, with the 26-27 projection of 66 students in kindergarten. Great question for clarity for everyone to know. Thank you so much for bringing that up.
I think somebody else was about to ask a question at the same time. Are there any other questions? Any comments?
If we did have the 66 children in the fall and we have 4 sections of kindergarten, then wouldn't you just move that teacher up a grade as long as they could teach it to stay with those 66 children?
Yeah, I understand the intent of the question, Penny, completely. The administrative team would meet with me and we would make that decision based on certification. So part of your question is answered there. I won't commit, however, to who it'll be, whether it's a bump up from pre-K or it's a bump down from another grade level. I won't commit to that. I won't commit to that yet because I really need to have a more solid footing and understanding of what our needs are at that time. But I understand the question.
Like if we have 4 teachers in kindergarten this coming year and then the following year, that next grade would then also have 4 sections.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The 4 sections moving along until they get up to 6th grade, unless some massive children leave in between.
Right. And that's always the case here. And our new Hartford teachers, God bless each and every one of them, they know that every year someone's going to move a grade level. That is a major undertaking and a huge professional kudos to our teachers for being able to do that. That is not easy. As a former educator, moving from grade K to 1 was an extremely difficult new curriculum to learn. Then moving from grade 5 to grade 6 or any grade levels, it is a challenge. You have the basis of some information, but you're really learning your job entirely new. You're learning new colleagues. You're learning a new developmental age of students. You're learning new assessments. You're learning the entire new curriculum. And we teach everything. It's not departmental based here. Everyone teaches everything here. So it's a major kudos to our staff, but that happens every single year here in New Hartford because of the small nature of our school district.
Do you anticipate any of the teachers retiring this year?
I do not have any formal letters. So no, at this time on March the 3rd, 2026, I don't have any official resignations. And they would have to make me aware of that in a timely manner. But sometimes people decide to retire when it's their time, and I can't force that or anticipate or speak to that because I don't have anything concrete. If I did, I would absolutely inform the Board of Education 100%.
But isn't there a date when they're supposed to do this by?
You could say yes, but again, things come up.
Right, I realize that.
Things come up in people's lives. If it would be wonderful to know in advance. But it's not an easy decision also to leave the job that you love and adore and the kids that you love and adore. It's not an easy thing, but I know that when it's time, I've been told when you know it's time, you'll know it's time. But no, I don't have anything right now to share relative to anyone's official resignation or retirement from our staff.
Okay, do we have any other comments or questions? Are we prepared to put the motion to vote? Okay, seeing none, we have a motion on the floor by John Puz to adopt and send to the Board of Finance the superintendent's proposed budget revision 1 with an increase of with a budget of $10,679,327 at an increase of 3.43% or $354,651. That's seconded by Penny Miller. I can see everybody on the screen, so all those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. That is unanimous. Okay, thank you all very much for all your work with the budget. The questions, as we went through last meeting, in the excess of 115 questions that we went through, made some good revisions. Again, our superintendent took our direction and took further money out. So again, I appreciate everybody's efforts through the budget process, and we will send it to the Board of Finance for their evaluation and inclusion with the town side to send a referendum. Next item on the agenda is public comment for agenda items only. So if anyone would like to address the board for agenda items, please do so on the lower side of your screen. You should have a hand that you can raise. I'm looking at the attendee list, so if anyone would like to address the board, please do so by raising your hand. All right, I'm seeing none. Does anybody else see just confirm that for me? Okay, we have no public comment tonight. Next item on the agenda is our reports. So our first report is the School Facility Utilization Task Force update. Kristen, do you have any update that you'd like to, I know you just did this last week. Is there anything further you'd like to update the board on?
I do not have any new updates for this week.
Okay, your next meeting is when?
Next week. But let me pull up the date before. It's March 11th. We just sent the agenda out yesterday. I'm just checking my calendar.
Yep, Wednesday, March 11th.
March 11th.
Thank you. All board members are welcome to attend.
Please attend. There will be a virtual option, so you don't have to sit in the audience.
Okay.
Is there a status update of whether or not it's going to be filmed by Paul, or are we going to use the owl again?
I do not have a status update. I think most likely the owl, just based on the timing of having to work with other boards for things. But that's as much information as I have. Sorry. Hi.
Kristen's been working hard on this, so it's
I'm
not
supposed to be in bed, so apologize for that. But yeah, no official updates on that.
Yeah, Kristen's been working hard though. I'll speak for her in trying to make this happen. So it's not for lack of effort. There's not clarity. It's just things take time.
Ed Advance. Patty, do you have any update from Ed Advance?
Not really. Our last meeting was canceled. Then we had a special meeting to sell off that property that they were trying to get rid of to some unnamed person. Our next meeting is later this month. That's about all. I did send Sarah, I had gotten a letter from Jonathan Costa, an advance letter that I had asked her if she could please share it with the rest of the board. So I don't know if she's going to send it out or if it'll be part of our next packet that we get.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
All right, and that brings us to item K on our agenda. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
So moved at 8:10 p.m. by Penny Miller.
Second.
Sorry, that was seconded by John Puss. All those in favor? That is unanimous. Thank you, everyone. Have a
Bye.
great night.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Have a
You
good night,
too.
everybody.
Evening.